certain that you are ready. Excellent. I'm seeing so many thumbs up that you are ready. Our Zoom master for this room is Toastmaster Johnny. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Excellent. Good evening once again, members of Division B, Division K, and District 81. This evening, we are here to have fun for the next few minutes as we debate on the moot, marijuana should be decriminalized. Marijuana should be decriminalized. I am your moderator for this session, Lisa Agard, and joining me as the Zoom master is Toastmaster Johnny Laidlaw. At this point, I would like to invite the judges to introduce themselves, and we thank them for volunteering their time this evening. Judges, can you kindly introduce yourselves?
Hi, good evening. My name is Judith Goudberg. I'm in the Curaçao Toastmasters and Leaders Beyond Borders, and I wish both teams the best of luck.
Good evening. I am Melissa Harrison Grinuva. I am the area director for Area 44, and I am wishing everyone much success as we hear the debate proceedings this evening.
Good evening. My name is Aiwa Kala. I'm from the Ararat Toastmasters Club. And indeed, I too wish you all the best of luck and have a great evening.
Thank you very much, judges. For the debate master's tour, we will be maintaining the following format, and the proposition speaker will have 5 minutes. The first speaker of the opposition will also have 5 minutes. The second speaker of the proposition will have 5 minutes, as well as the second speaker of the opposition will also have 5 minutes. We will then have a 5 minutes of audience interaction so that you can share your views on this topic. And then we will re-invite the third speaker of the opposition, who will then present for 3 minutes, followed by the third speaker of the proposition, who will then present for another 3 minutes. Okay, so we have with us Division B and Division K. For this debate, Division B will be proposing and Division K will be opposing. At this point, I would like to invite the debaters from Division B to kindly share with us, introduce yourselves in your speaking order.
Good evening, all. I am Captain Molly Plummer, and I will be doing the rebuttal. I want to introduce my team and have them state their name. And so I'm going to go with Speaker 1.
Good evening. I am Kauna Mackenzie.
And do you have a third speaker, Division B?
Yes, good evening. My name is Michelle Brown. I have been a Toastmaster for a little over a year, and I have never formally debated before. So this is my first debating opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michelle. So representing this evening for Division B, we have the first speaker, Toastmaster Kauna Mackenzie. Our second speaker, Toastmaster Michelle Brown.
That is correct.
The third speaker, Toastmaster Molly Plummer. Excellent. We now move to Division K. Can you kindly introduce yourselves, the members who are representing Division K in this debate?
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. Good evening, one and all. My name is Sean Down, and today I am the captain for this debate team for Division K, and the team comprises of three stalwart Toastmasters. I'll be your first speaker. At this time, I'll invite my second speaker, Toastmaster Adine Wilson, to introduce herself, and then our third speaker and our rebuttal speaker is Toastmaster Audrine Waugh.
Good evening, everyone. As my captain would have clearly outlined, I will be the rebuttalist for Division K.
Thank you, Team Division K. Just to reiterate, the first speaker for Division K is Toastmaster Sean Downer. The second speaker is Toastmaster Adine Wilson. And the third speaker is Toastmaster Audrienne Waugh. Thank you so much for introducing yourselves, Toastmasters. At this point, I would like to introduce the timer who will be sharing with us how the timing will go for this evening's debate. Our timer this evening is Toastmaster Ika Jones. Toastmaster Ika, the virtual lectern is yours.
Yes, I have to ask everybody in the house to keep quiet. Timer will be as follows. Speaker has 5 minutes each. Green will come up at 3, yellow at 4, red at green, red at 5. When they are on their rebuttal, green at 1, yellow at 2, red at 3.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ika. I will invite all the debaters to ensure that you can see the timer as you deliver your presentations this evening. Divisions B and Division K, District 81, I do believe that we are ready now to start this debate officially. As I shared with you a few moments ago, the moot is marijuana should be decriminalized. Marijuana should be decriminalized. At this point, I would like to invite the first speaker of the proposition to kindly grace us at the virtual lectern to deliver your presentation.
The testimony of Charlotte Figi is well known. Diagnosed with Dravet syndrome, a rare form of epilepsy. At only 5 years old, she suffered loss of consciousness and muscle contractions weekly. Her body was so badly affected that her parents and doctor put her in a medically induced coma. With no options for Charlotte, the family turned to medicinal marijuana. Honorable judges, specially invited guests, colleagues, and my most learned opponents, good evening. My team and I stand firmly before you today to propose the moot. Marijuana should be decriminalized. Throughout this debate, we will prove and demonstrate to you that decriminalization of marijuana opens the door for people like Charlotte to benefit from its life-saving medicinal properties, reap economic benefits, and experience religious freedom. Marijuana, also called weed, herb, ganja, and a vast number of other slangs, is defined by the National Institute on Drug Abuse as the greenish-gray mixture of the dried flowers of cannabis sativa. The dictionary online defines criminalization as the action or process of ceasing to treat something as illegal. Marijuana is used in herbal remedies for centuries, for which scientists have identified many biological active components in the herb. These are called cannabidiol. Studies from the American Cancer Society 2021 have found that marijuana has helped in cancer treatment for easing some of the symptoms and side effects. The use of the active component tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, in the plant lessen symptoms of nausea and vomiting from chemotherapy, and aid in the treating neuropathic pain caused by nerve damage. The society confirms that cancer patients who use marijuana often need less pain medication. The synthetic derivative of THC is manufactured and sold as a Schedule III drug and is found to have low to moderate potential for physical or psychological dependence and may be prescribed by a physician as it is FDA approved. The Jamaican Cancer Registry at the University of the West Indies recorded in 2018 a total of 7,348 cancers, and with Jamaica's marijuana recognized globally as being of high quality, it is full time that we consider the potential value in the use of marijuana in the treatment of our cancer patients. My opponents may ask, where is Jamaica in this conversation? Good news, if we decriminalize marijuana, news report out of London and Toronto in 2021 indicated that Jamaican women were likely first in line to benefit from new discoveries, which found that medical cannabis formulations were 100% effective in killing breast cancer cells. Marijuana has been proven to aid in the treatment of glaucoma. Highly acclaimed Jamaican researchers, Professor Manley West and Dr. Albert Lockhart, developed a cannabis-derived medication called canonosol to treat the potentially disabling eye condition. The drug does not introduce negative side effects that are associated with synthetic glaucoma therapies. And Dr. Lockhart stated that if marijuana was to be decriminalized, it would remove some of the rigors of production. Epilepsy, cancer, and glaucoma are just three of the many other maladies that may be treated effectively with marijuana. Given the cost of healthcare in Jamaica and the pressure on our healthcare system, it would really be foolhardy for us to ignore the potential for the state of wellness of our population and the economic gain to be had from this most potent herb. Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mackenzie. We will now give the judges a few moments to mark their score sheets. Please join me in welcoming now to the virtual lectern, Toastmaster Sean Downer, the first speaker of the opposition. Toastmaster Sean Downer, the virtual lectern is yours.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I'm ready. Weed, pot, grass, dope, reefer, hash, herb, chronic, ganja, or Mary Jane, whatever you may call it, marijuana, and we're not talking about the medical use, marijuana is currently the world's most commonly used illicit drugs according to luxury.rehabs.com 2021. As we explore the negative social, economical, and psychological impacts of decriminalizing marijuana, this three-member team from Division K will help you unpack the facts needed to value our position that marijuana should not be decriminalized. Yes, as stated earlier in the proposition's definition, it is germane for us to fully understand the meaning of key terms. And as such, here are some additional important definitions. In the legal fraternity, depenalize is a transitive verb, which means to remove a penal form. Now, as stated in earlier, decriminalize is to stop something from or as illegal or as a criminal offense. Now, if we're to decriminalize something, it only goes to show that we have to think about the legal definition. Now, legalize, according to the Oxford Language Dictionary, means it's defined as making something that was previously illegal permissible by law. No to marijuana. Ladies and gentlemen, my worthy opponents, esteemed judges, good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to set the record straight. Marijuana is not an angel. Marijuana is a demon. Decriminalizing this hallucinogen, this mind killer, this demon of a drug could cause the absolute worst atrocity known to mankind. This evil act, decriminalizing marijuana, would be a crime against humanity. We are not discussing or debating its medical use. We're saying decriminalization of marijuana should not be allowed. What is marijuana? Yes, my able opponents gave a definition, but failed to say, even though it's a greenish mixture and a dried plant from the cannabis sativa, the main psychoactive, mind-altering chemical in marijuana, THC, it affects everyone who is seeking its use. Now, we have those definitions straight. Let's come a little closer to home, to Jamaica to be more specific. What does 95% of all criminals in Jamaica have in common? They all smoke marijuana. Now, marijuana linked to crime causation? We didn't say that, but that is certainly an interesting phenomenon. In 1937, the United States declared war. A war was declared against this dangerous drug in all of creation, marijuana. The moot is marijuana should be decriminalized. We, the opposition, will help you to understand why you should not, in fact, why you should be on the right side of this argument. Marijuana should not be decriminalized. In the article, October 2nd, 2019, the awful legacy of 1937 Marijuana Act, 82 years ago, it says 1937 marijuana effectively was banned for its sale of cannabis in the United States. And we know when America sneezes, the world catches a cold. So can you imagine 82 years, the negative social impact smoking marijuana has caused? If you're not sure, let me highlight some of them for you. Impairment in cognitive functioning, disruptive of all stages of memory, impairment of motor skills and reaction time, greater industrial motor vehicle accidents, and as well, extreme homelessness in states like California. 82 years of destruction. We don't want that on any society. Now, given these gruesome negative side effects, this dangerous demon substance should not be decriminalized. And so my second speaker will share with you the negative economical and psychological impact that decriminalization marijuana will cause. Healthy people equals healthy society. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sean. We will now give the judges a few moments to mark their score sheets. Toastmasters, kindly join me now in welcoming to the virtual lectern the second speaker for the proposition, Toastmaster Michelle Brown, as she delivers her presentation. Toastmaster Michelle, the virtual lectern is yours.
Esteemed judges, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, my learned opponents, I stand before you today to address one economic, one cultural, and one religious reason why I argue that marijuana should be decriminalized. Before beginning my presentation, I must first refute 2 points raised by Speaker 1 of the opposing side. My opponents have stated that they will not discuss the medical benefits of marijuana because they know that they do not have the facts to back any argument that goes against the medical benefits that marijuana brings. We have those facts, and we have showed and will continue to show that the benefits of marijuana far outweigh any side effects. Our opponents have also said that the US has called marijuana a demon drug. Marijuana is not a demon. And we will show that this argument is more a result of their tobacco lobby that we will discuss shortly. The economic benefits of decriminalizing marijuana are clear. If marijuana is decriminalized, the industry would be a legitimate industry like any other in the economy, and therefore subject to taxation. Chris Kane, in an article published in the prestigious Forbes magazine, noted that after the COVID-19 pandemic, the world has faced the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression, nearly 100 years ago. He's not surprised that the very US has turned to the marijuana industry to aid in post-COVID economic recovery. In fact, Investopedia, the world's leading source of financial information on the web, reported in 2019 that Colorado collected more than $302 million in taxes from marijuana. In light of this economic potential, I unreservedly propose the moot that marijuana should be decriminalized. I will next address culture. In the report of the National Commission on Ganja in Jamaica, citizens interviewed were of the view that the disparity in treatment between marijuana and alcohol and cigarettes was hypocritical. It was universally considered that this was another example of colonial governments suppressing the African and Indian residents having access to their poor man whiskey. My teammates and I examined these arguments and we agree. With respect to alcohol, in an article in the Washington Post, it was noted that drivers who use marijuana are at a significantly lower risk for a crash than drivers who use alcohol. Nearly 25% of all fatal accidents in the US result from the use of alcohol. With respect to cigarettes, as my teammates argued, cigarettes are a key cause of cancer. This is why the most horrendous pictures must now be placed on cigarette packages, warning of the alarming risks of cigarettes to human health. How can it be that this dangerous substance is legal, but the natural herb of the colonies is not? Could it be the dangers posed by marijuana? Or isn't it more likely that this is because of the influential tobacco lobbyists in first world countries? Finally, I will address religion. For the Rastafarian, marijuana forms an integral part of ceremonial rituals. The Nyabingi elders, in their testimony to the Ganja Committee, stated that marijuana helps the Rastafarian to find his inner self, leading to a level of spiritual transcendence. They propose that to decriminalize such an herb given by God to man is absolute ignorance. As Caribbean countries seeking self-actualization, let us rid ourselves of these last vestiges of our colonial past, such as saying that when the US sneezes, the world catches a cold. That is wrong. Let us decriminalize marijuana and pave the way for the prosperity of this industry. Esteemed judges, all, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Brown. We will now give the judges a few moments to mark their score sheet. Toastmasters, kindly join me now in welcoming to the virtual lectern the second speaker of the opposition, Toastmaster Adine Wilson. Toastmaster Adine Wilson, the virtual lectern is yours.
Fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. And we are making the decision that marijuana should not be decriminalized. Good evening, Chairperson, my opponents and our adjudicators, and you, our audience. The mood for today's debate is marijuana should be decriminalized. We, the opposition, believe that marijuana should not be decriminalized. Our opponents have tried to tell you that marijuana will be beneficial for its medical uses. I'm afraid we'll have to go against you when it comes to that. Will the decriminalization of marijuana be focused on its medical uses? Let's be honest. It is being focused on and used for recreation uses. And this is what we're trying to prevent, free use that can stem into overuse. I noticed that our opponents also mentioned religion, but think about it this way. If a religious group uses cocaine, does that make cocaine healthy? Does that make it possible to legalize cocaine? I think not. Today, as the second speaker of the opposition, I will share with you 2 points on why marijuana should not be decriminalized. When we examine the socioeconomic challenges of decriminalizing this dangerous and toxic substance called marijuana, we should understand the serious negative impacts it will have on society and just the human race in general. Healthy people equal healthy economy. Jamaica's economy is already struggling, barely hanging on. According to macrotrends.com, an article titled Jamaica's GDP 1960 to 2020, our GDP in 2015 was 14.19 billion. One would think that with the vast economic benefits being derived from the decriminalization of the mighty marijuana, our economy should be booming. 5 years later, in 2020, it was a whopping $13.81 billion. Every economy needs a healthy workforce, good health in mind, body, and spirit. How does decriminalizing marijuana boost our economy when smoking marijuana creates more sick people, mentally ill people? Wait, deranged people? No, mad people who will never help to improve an economy. According to the Journal of Global Drug Policy and Practice, Recent estimates of marijuana decriminalization impact on government spending predict possible savings and revenues, but it does not reflect the economic cost for changing the current policy. My opponents, the decriminalization of marijuana is not good for any economy, as it is costly to regulate and taxation is just not profitable. No economy can grow with sick people, mad people, which brings me to my next point. Marijuana is an addictive drug that poses significant health consequences to its users, including those who may be using it for medical purposes. Marijuana may trigger psychiatric illnesses, including mood disorder, latent schizophrenia, and clinical dependence. The American Psychiatric Association's statement on marijuana as medicine states, there is no current scientific evidence that provides and shows that marijuana is beneficial for the treatment of any psychiatric disorder. The smoking of marijuana has no medical benefits. And in contrast, current evidence supports at minimum a strong association of cannabis use with the onset of psychiatric disorders. What did I say about mad people? Adolescents are particularly vulnerable to harm, given the effects of cannabis on psychological development. The main psychoactive ingredient, THC, stimulates the part of your brain that cocaine, heroin, meth targets, and can have grave consequences. Not only does using weed, ganja, or pot offset psychological disorders, but it worsens the ones already present. Smoking marijuana is just a bout of psychological issues waiting to happen. Healthy people, healthy economy. My opponents, the research shows that marijuana does more harm than good for one's psychological state. So chairperson, my opponents, think about it. Is it really worth the risk of decriminalizing something that can so negatively impact the economy and the minds of the people? Is it? When we put those things at risk, what will we truly have left? So we, the opposition, stands firm in our belief that marijuana should not be decriminalized. I thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Wilson. We will now give the judges a few moments to mark their score sheets. District 81, we have just heard from the speakers from the proposition and the opposition, the first and second speakers. And now we will give the judges and the debaters some time to go into a special breakout room to finalize their thoughts before they return to give their rebuttals. The judges will be escorted into a separate room, while the teams will also be escorted into a separate room. And while they are discussing that, we will have an interaction on what your thoughts are on the mood for this evening. Marijuana should be decriminalized. Toastmaster, Zoom Master, kindly let me know when all judges and debaters are in their respective breakout rooms.
all judges and speakers have been assigned to their respective rooms.
Thank you very much, Madam Zoom Master, for this evening. District 81, Divisions B and K. We just heard some tantalizing information shared on marijuana should be decriminalized. At this point, I'd like to open the virtual space now for any Toastmaster to share with me what your thoughts are on this moot. Should marijuana be decriminalized or should it not be decriminalized? What are your thoughts? Any member of the room, feel free to unmute your mics and let's have that discussion. I see Toastmaster Oral Lawson. Please unmute your mic and let's hear your views on this topic.
All right, so an excellent moot, first and foremost.
Okay.
I do believe that marijuana should be decriminalized based on the evidence presented by the proposition.
The proposition.
I look at countries like the Netherlands, and they are going forward. I look at the changes that are happening all across the world in the medicinal marijuana market, even in the US. And it's a changing perspective that we have now. I am a Christian and I'm speaking to you from a changed perspective because of the benefits that marijuana has. The evidence presented about treatment of glaucoma is factual. And even though the opposition have stated their claims, I believe that the proposition has got my vote.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your views, Toastmaster Lawson. I see that DTM Corin Thomas, as well as Toastmaster Daphne Furlong, your hands are up. I will now invite Toastmaster Corin. DTM Corin, can you kindly share your views on this topic?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Moderator. I am 100% in support of this moot. The Caribbean has a long history of use of marijuana for medicinal purposes. And the fact is, I have been in positions where in a former job, I've had to go and bail young fishermen for having one spliff. And that goes on their record. It follows them through life. We're not talking about people marketing it. And yes, let's go to the marketing. The US and other countries are making millions and discouraging us at the same time from doing likewise. So I'm very, very strongly in support of it.
All right, thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Corin, and we'll take one more person, Toastmaster Daphne.
I completely agree with DTM Corin, but I'm going to add on to it medicinal benefits. I'm going to use a little story. My daughter had epilepsy, so she became epileptic and went on to medication at age 7. At age 32, she died because the medication was causing such terrible side effects. However, marijuana, which she knew helped her because she had used it, was illegal, and so she could not legally get it. And so as a result, she had fit upon top of fit upon top of fit until she stopped breathing and died because a plant that grows was illegal. But someone cooking up something in a lab, that's perfectly legal. Things that have a worst effects, perfectly legal. But a plant which some are making millions, not millions, billions on, are legal. Wrong. It should be decriminalized.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Toastmaster Daphne. We have time for one more person, Toastmaster Ika, just one more person. So I see so many hands up and I know you all want to share. I'm going to invite now Toastmaster Yolanda. Can you kindly quickly share with us your views on this topic?
Like Madam Moderator, fellow Toastmasters, I would like to add my voice to basically the argument that says it should be legalized, as I do believe that with education, any form of treatment can be beneficial. I also would like to say that most of the times we think about the negative impacts that something may have without understanding that its positive impact may well outweigh the negatives. What science has proven and research has shown this is that most persons who have become addicted to marijuana have underlying causes. And the most prominent one is that there is a disconnection socially between them and the society. And so marijuana is a coping mechanism which they turn towards for lack of opportunities because they do not have the support of the society. So it's an indictment on the society. Oftentimes that persons turn to these types of psychoactive drugs and basically escaping them. And that is something that we must deal with as a society rather than hold it as the reason why we should not embrace the positive benefits of marijuana. So much more will need to be put in place for it to be safely used, but it is not impossible that we can harness the benefits of marijuana for society's growth and development. And
All
that
right.
is my point. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your views on that, Toastmaster Yolanda. And I see so many hands still up, but our time is up. And thank you for sharing with me on your views on whether marijuana should be decriminalized. At this point, Madam Zoo Master, can you kindly let me know if all debaters and judges have been returned to this room, to room 5?
No, they have not, but I can have them moved back into the room. You have time for one final comment while I do.
All right, excellent. I see Toastmaster Shaquille, you had your hand up. Would you like to share your views on this topic?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I would say I am more on defense. I am neither for the whole decriminalization, nor I am neither against. But I would just basically say that we all know the economics behind of anything illegal, for say, is going to make money. You're going to make millions of dollars off of it because something is illegal. It's obvious they're going to push. It's going to push you. It's going to push you and persons. So basically, persons will be making money off of it. For instance, I know, well, where I'm living, a little piece of this bud is like 3 to 20 something US, depending on where you get it from. So you see the economics behind of it being illegal. Also, they like to quote this thing that medical marijuana. How are we going to know medical marijuana from any sort of any recreational use of marijuana?
Right. I know
And
you
then
have so
again,
much more to share, Toastmaster Lewis, but our debaters have rejoined us
Mercy.
as well as the judges. Everyone is here now, Toastmaster Johnny?
Yes, everyone has returned to the main room.
All right, welcome back, debaters, Division B and Division K. And of course, welcome back, judges. We are now on the final round of this interesting moot on whether marijuana should be decriminalized. Debaters, are you ready? At this point, I would like to invite now to the virtual lectern, the third speaker for the opposition, Toastmaster Adrian Waugh. Toastmaster Adrian, the virtual lectern is yours.
Hello, yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. My worthy opponents, you have come here today to waste all of our time trying desperately to convince us that we should decriminalize marijuana. I know you have worked extremely hard to convince yourselves of this stance, but not to worry, your fight is over. Be it resolved that marijuana should not be decriminalized. Nations, countries, states, jurisdictions would have made these dire mistakes in the past, making mistakes of attempting and in some cases actually decriminalizing marijuana, and they have lived to regret it. We have the evidence of the negative social impact. We have outlined to you opponents that in countries where marijuana is decriminalized, there has been an increase in expenditure on social programs, which led to the economic fallout of said countries. And just in case you may be tempted to miss this point, let me put it quite simply. Decriminalization is more of an economic strain than it is a benefit. We have solidified our stance by explaining to you the negative psychological impact of marijuana. We are of the strongest opinion that if there is to be a policy change, it should be one that advances the whole human race, not one that kills more people than it saves, impoverishes more families than it helps, and removes all possibility of ever edifying the mental capabilities of a nation. I've heard your points, and while there are many, I do not find them substantial nor resounding. You spoke of the medical benefits of marijuana. Well, let me tell you something, my dear opponents. Decriminalizing marijuana will not give us much more medicinal benefits than we have access to right now. Furthermore, it is still a highly addictive drug that is not approved by the FDA. You spoke of the economic benefits. There is no economy that could withstand the social implications and costs associated with decriminalizing marijuana. As my teammate would have emphasized, healthy people equals a healthy economy. According to marijuanaprocon.org, annual societal cost from alcohol is 224 billion and tobacco 193 billion. Those far exceed the 24 billion tax revenues you claim that we would gain. You spoke of religion in a blanket, and the most famous Rastafarian I know is Mutabaruka, says he doesn't smoke. Then why would he go against the fundamentals of his religion? Because marijuana is a dangerous drug. Marijuana isn't harmless. Marijuana isn't cute. Marijuana isn't healthy. Marijuana is a drug, a highly addictive drug that should in no circumstances at all be ever decriminalized. I rest my case.
Thank you, Toastmaster Adrienne. We will now give the judges a few moments to mark their score sheets. I will now like to invite to the virtual lectern the final speaker for the proposition, Toastmaster Molly Plummer. Toastmaster Molly Plummer, the virtual lectern is yours.
Honorable judges, special invited guests, colleagues, and my learned opponents. In this debate concerning the decriminalization of marijuana, we looked at the pros and cons of the subject matter. We discussed the medicinal purpose, economics, religious, and cultural aspect versus the psychological aspect, the recreational use of such, the socio-economic aspect. My colleagues and I have presented an airtight case with irrefutable evidence and trustworthy sources for our arguments. My learned opponents will do well to learn the facts as presented by us. We undoubtedly disagree with our opponents when they said, and I quote, marijuana should not be decriminalized as the drug is a demon. Aren't all medicine a drug? Should we criminalize them? All drugs over the counter, if not used properly, can be dangerous. They also quoted 95% of criminals smoke marijuana. My learned opponents have failed to furnish us with the sources. Why? All speculation. We come here with the facts. My learned opponents have also spoken about America, but can I remind them that all states in America except 3 have legalized marijuana, and they have made a whopping $61 billion from this. We stand to remind our learned opponents that marijuana has been FDA approved in the treatment of cancer. Why then a substance so useful be criminalized? Marijuana is less likely to cause fatal accidents as opposed to alcohol and cigarettes. Can I ask the question, if all of you were on your dying bed and the only thing to save your life is marijuana, what would be your choice? We stand to remind our learned opponents here that we come with facts, and facts we will sell because marijuana should be decriminalized. Honorable judges, invited guests, colleagues, my learned opponents, we thank you for listening to the undiluted truths and facts we have presented. Marijuana should be decriminalized. We stand with the mood. We are ready. We gave you the facts. Sit down. Take it in. Stop. You got it. Marijuana should be decriminalized. I rest my case.
Thank you, Toastmaster Plummer. We will now give the judges a few moments to mark their scores. At this point, we will invite the Zoom master to escort the judges into a separate breakout room as they finalize marking their ballots. While the judges are doing that, we will get the opportunity to learn some more from our debaters this evening on their experience preparing for the topic, marijuana should be decriminalized. Madam Zoom Master, kindly let me know when all judges have been placed.
All judges have been moved to the breakout room. You may proceed.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Johnny. District 81, Divisions B and K. Wow. Toastmasters in the room. Did you enjoy tonight's debate? A thumbs up, a high five.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
use those icons.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. I hear
They
that.
brought
I
it.
certainly agree with you, Toastmasters. This was a debate. But let's hear from the debaters themselves. Let's hear about how their experience was as they prepared for tonight. We will first start with the proposition, Division B. Leading Division B, we had Toastmaster Mackenzie. Toastmaster Mackenzie, what was your experience as you prepared for tonight's debates?
Preparing for tonight's debate was a learning experience. We have a very good team. We have a very good support. So it made the journey an enjoyable one. So I must say it was an enjoyable journey preparing for this debate tonight.
All right. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mackenzie. And on the opposition, we had leading that team, Toastmaster Sean. What was your experience like?
What a debate. What a match. What a tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
Mercy.
Negative to Mary Jane. No medicinal stuff. it was an eye-opening event. It's so amazing. You know, this debate has been going on since I've been a boy, and I'm not that old, and that's still long ago. And here we are having it today. But again, to have this form of engagement with Toastmasters, and even with a new division as Division K, you know, it's indeed a milestone. And so I was happy to have had the privilege to be a part of this historic and groundbreaking event.
Most definitely. And I am quite certain that everyone here in the room will support your views and those of all the debaters this evening, that tonight you brought the energy and the zest as you shared on this topic. And it has been one that has been debated for quite a long time, and it is still ongoing. So, should marijuana be decriminalized? We are yet to figure out from the responses of the judges. We will be reinvited into the main room where the results will be shared. However, as I do not believe we have any judges here with us to give individualized feedback, but another debater who was present with us, Toastmaster Brown, what was your experience like?
I really must say I enjoyed the experience, and it helped that I actually agree with the move that it should be decriminalized. So it helped. So but in going through the process, the research, I kind of opened up a lot of the thinking that I had way back then when this issue was live, you know? And so I think it was a very good, a very topical debate, and I'm happy that we got this debate to do tonight. And as you said, it was very vibrant because people are passionate about issues like this. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. I see that our timer is indicating the red light is on, and thank you all for joining us this evening as we, Toastmaster Denise. Toastmaster Denise, I believe your mic is unmuted. Nevertheless, as we wrap up this evening's debate, marijuana should be decriminalized. We are yet to find out. The Zoom master will then invite you all to go back to the main room as we listen for the winners of this evening's debate. Thank you all for attending and for supporting your team.